Well, we are just over a week until the official start of fall, although it's been feeling more like it over the last few days. This is video of the heavy downpours rolling over southeast Portland just a couple hours ago. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. I'm John Adams. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to explain what the last week of summer is going to be like. Joe, are we going to see any warm weather over the next week?
We'll call it comfortable, John. When I think of warm, I think temperature is right around 80, maybe 82. We're not going to be touching 80 degrees anytime soon. But looking at the rainfall amounts, you might think, well, Joe, that doesn't look all that impressive. 5/100ths of an inch of rain. Salem, you didn't see anything. But depending on where you are, the northern part of the metro area, especially in downtown Portland, saw basically a half of an inch of rain fall in anywhere from about 2 to 3 hours. When I got in here a little after 5 o'clock, it was all dry, no rainfall in the gauge. And then by 5:30, 6 o'clock, all of that changed. It was all we could talk about earlier in the newsroom. We're continuing to see some of those showers push off to the east. Some of them have been producing some lightning strikes as well, as those heavier cells that we saw just a couple of hours ago are pushing into the foothills of the mountains and over into Timberline Lodge, outside Timberline Lodge, I should say. So there's still about a 10% chance of rain over the next couple of hours. We'll dry out in the early morning hours. Then another chance to see some rain showers moves in basically from 4 a.m. tomorrow until late morning. I don't think we're going to be seeing much in terms of measurable amount of rain, but once we get into the noon hour tomorrow, we are going to be seeing some drier conditions and a few more sunshine conditions out there. So a few light showers overnight and tomorrow morning, mostly sunny skies in the afternoon. The last week of summer, John, below average temperatures mainly. There is one day that is looking relatively nice. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show.
I'm not as proud as I was 15, 20 years ago. There are people who literally cannot afford a house, and that's unfair.
A production standstill at multiple Boeing plants this weekend. About 33,000 machinists are on strike, including some 1,200 people at Boeing's Gresham facility. It's after workers in Oregon and the Seattle area overwhelmingly rejected a contract offer and voted instead to hit the picket lines. While this is putting financial strain on the company, some aviation analysts predict negotiations could be resolved in just a matter of weeks. NBC's Jim Nelson has more.
In Everett, I want to be able to get a home for her or have her buy her own home and live the American dream.
And in Renton,
blood, sweat, and tears into our planes, and we're very proud of the product we put out there.
Boeing machinists walked the picket line over pay.
We hope that this strike is going to be a short one, not anything like the 57 days from 2008.
Aviation analyst Scott Hamilton referring to the last work stoppage, which cost Boeing an estimated $2 billion. Now 33,000 workers are striking.
All that cash flow stops, and that is really important to Boeing right now because of its frankly rather precarious financial condition.
The company has burned more than $8 billion this year, more than $25 billion over the last 6. Looking ahead to the potential long-term impact, could airlines back out of purchase deals?
I don't see that. Number one, I believe that the contracts characterize strikes as an excusable delay.
And what about moving facilities out of the Northwest over the threat of labor issues? Hamilton says it's unlikely.
This might be resolved within the next 2 weeks. Everybody wants to resolve it. Everybody recognizes the stakes involved here.
Especially new CEO Kelly Ortberg.
He came in at almost an impossible time. But if this strike is resolved quickly, that would go to his credit to resolving it quickly. And Boeing actually could conceivably come out of this with a reset with labor relations and come out of it in a positive way, again, provided this is resolved very quickly.
Negotiators for Boeing and the union representing its workers will meet again early next week. A Boeing spokesperson told KGW they are committed to resetting their relationship with employees in the union and are ready to reach a new agreement. Well, a man was killed by police early this morning following an armed standoff in Lynn County. It happened just before 12:45 on the Shamanic Bridge near the town of Scio. Deputies were responding to a report of a pedestrian struck by a vehicle. When they got there, they found the driver armed just off of Richardson Gap Road. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office said he ignored commands and fired his weapon. They said because of his actions, he was shot and killed when a SWAT team was sent in. The Oregon State Police is now investigating. The pedestrian received only a minor injury. Further north in Marion County, Staten police arrested a man Friday on murder charges. Officers were called to an assault just before 4:30 in the afternoon in the area of West Locust near Heritage Loop. There they found the body of 55-year-old Curtis Longfellow. They later identified and arrested the suspect, 30-year-old Skylar Gendhar. He is being charged with second-degree murder and unlawful use of a weapon. A Portland neighborhood is in shock this morning after a toddler died in a suspected fentanyl overdose. The 2-year-old girl was in cardiac arrest when first responders got to the scene. This happened Thursday at a home near Northeast 6th and MLK. Police have spoken with several adults in the girl's life, but they haven't spoken with the girl's mother. At this point, they haven't arrested anyone. Police say based on evidence found at the child's home and information from the hospital, they believe fentanyl was a factor in the girl's death. We spoke with Portland Fire and Rescue. They tell us all drugs are more dangerous for kids, especially fentanyl. It's 50 times more powerful than heroin.
I'm hopeful that we don't have situations where we have families that are living in the threat of this possibly happening. But I'm also hopeful that we can get everybody who's addicted to it, whether they're on the streets or they're housed, and we can find pathways for them to get out of it. It is extremely, extremely addictive.
Since the start of 2023, police have dealt with 513 fentanyl overdoses, including 14 children. They say most cases ended in death. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call Portland Police. An update to a crash in Northeast Portland that shut down a major road for several hours. Police now say a driver was booked on DUI charges, among others, after hitting a pedestrian at 17th and Lombard. PPB also says before getting hit, the pedestrian was suffering from a mental health crisis, jumping in front of multiple cars. They remain in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. In Vancouver, a week-long investigation into an alleged sex offense ended today with one man in custody. The Vancouver Police Department said the suspect allegedly inappropriately touched a teenager last Saturday at a grocery store. Today, officers arrested the man at his home on a charge of sexually motivated assault. And in West Beaverton, Washington County deputies arrested a driver after a hit and run leaves a motorcyclist seriously hurt. It happened at Southwest Farmington and 157th. The driver of the car, 27-year-old Julio Borjas Diaz, was arrested and charged with felony hit and run. A local nonprofit is asking for the community support after an early morning building fire. Free Geek near Ladd's Addition says around 2 a fire started outside their receiving and recycling area. While no one was hurt, their donation center was damaged. Free Geek says they're closing until repairs can be made. In the meantime, they're looking to raise $25,000 in part to pay staff and replace equipment. We'll have more details on our website, kgw.com. Well, after years of construction, a historic Portland high school building is back in service. Today, Benson High School unveiled its newly rebuilt campus to the community with a ribbon-cutting ceremony and a tour. Our Sydney Dorner caught up with school leaders to discuss how this will impact students' futures.
Benson Polytechnic High School here in Northeast Portland is finally getting a chance to celebrate its new state-of-the-art facility while also recognizing its rich history that spans over 100 years.
3, 2, 1, cut!
Legacy, major school spirit, and proud alumni all make the fabric of Benson Polytechnic High School.
I learned how to be a leader here, how to get along with people, and to work together.
Class of 1950 graduate James Robb is amazed to see the campus now be completely modernized, looking back fondly at his education.
This is a wonderful school. It's done everything for me that I would ever want it.
That same fulfillment transcends to seniors currently attending the high school.
So many people still have so much tech pride for this school and so much happiness towards the renovation, the spirit, everything is like really energetic and nice.
The new building now has entire wings of the school dedicated to technical instruction in areas like communications and computer science.
We're really going to be able to succeed and excel.
Featuring an automotive center on site, a place to learn construction hands-on, and even a separate building where students produce their own radio broadcast.
Now that we're at the new building and we have top-of-the-line instruments that even other radio stations don't have.
Taxpayers funded these renovations through bonds from 2017 and 2020. Voting for the idea that Benson principal Curtis Wilson Jr. brainstormed almost 8 years ago.
Now, with the state-of-the-art equipment that the taxpayers allowed us to utilize, we're very happy and fortunate, but we still know that we have other schools in our district that still need to be supported as well.
Like Benson High, who is set to start their construction in summer 2025. Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
All right, let's head to the gridiron now. Oregon and Oregon State are squaring off for the 128th time in the rivalry game. Both teams 2-0 going into the contest. It's the first time it's been a non-conference game since all the way back in 1963. Art Edwards is here with a look at what happened. Hey, Art.
Hey there. You know what? There were a lot of questions going into this ball game. Could the Oregon offensive line hold up? And could the Oregon State offense run the ball and keep could their defense keep Oregon under control? Well, the Beavers did control the ball in the first half of this ball game. You know what? They were able to tie the game early and only trailed by a single score when it got to the half. But the second half was an entirely different story, and it was all Oregon. Dylan Gabriel was sensational today. Long touchdown run, 54 yards. He also threw for 291 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Oregon rolled up 546 yards in total offense. They never punted the ball in this game. After 2 weeks of some not so impressive football, the Ducks certainly rebounded. They win the game 49-14, the final score. That broke a 2-game win streak that Oregon State had at Reser Stadium. Now, Orlando Sanchez is in Corvallis. He's going to have a complete wrap of the ball game, including reaction from players and coaches from both teams. That's coming up a little bit later in sports.
All right, Art, thank you. Look like a completely different Duck team today. Well, coming up, tourism in Portland may be bouncing back as millions came to visit the region this summer. What a new report reveals and why the future could be even brighter. Plus, a new study shows some species of animals could benefit from human help. What that could mean for some local and endangered butterflies. Welcome back. We're entering the final few weeks of summer, and according to the folks over at Travel Portland, our region has reason to celebrate. Numbers show downtown Portland is making a comeback after the COVID pandemic. Our Devin Haskins breaks down the numbers.
Seeing downtown Portland full of life again this summer is a good sign of things to come. And for Travel Portland, the season was promising.
Portland saw the best summer tourism season for overnight visitors than we've had since the pandemic. So it's exciting news for the city and our recovery, and a really strong indicator that tourism is making significant gains for now and into the future.
The pandemic created a rough couple of years for Portland. Between the pandemic restrictions and the riots that damaged businesses, the city's reputation took a hit. Travel Portland says that's becoming farther and farther in the past.
I think the city's in better shape than it's been. It's cleaner, it looks good, it feels good. We have downtown events again that are drawing people into the city core.
Between concerts and major events, June and July saw more than 2 million people downtown. They say that's the highest amount since 2019.
That's a good sign. Obviously, it's trending in the right direction, that people are coming back to Portland to visit. Summer is obviously kind of the peak season for that.
That's Greg Astley. He's with the Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association. He says although tourists are dining more and more in the Rose City, he points to inflation still causing problems for some restaurant owners.
Even though they've got twice the sales and they're employing twice as many people, they still haven't taken a paycheck home for the last 4 or 5 months.
Back to the summer tourism study, Travel Portland shows that more people are also staying the night in hotels. Demand for hotel rooms this summer inching closer to those 2019 numbers. Hotel occupancy rates for the summer months this year were more than 10% higher compared to the same months last year.
Word of mouth is working in our favor. People are coming to Portland, they're spending the night, they're having a great time, and they're going home and telling their friends and family.
Devin Haskins.
And more positive news, analysts believe we're still possibly 2 years away from peak tourism numbers. That will happen as more large-scale events and conventions continue to come to Portland. Well, turning now to weather as we wrap up summer, we got a sneak peek at what some of those fall rain showers are going to look like.
Now, we started meteorological fall just a couple of weeks ago. Now I've realized there's 3 total falls. Meteorological fall, and that fall when you walk home in the door and you see your wife is already decorated for fall, and the official start of fall, which is not until next Sunday at 4:44 in the morning. Yeah, I came home the other day from work and my wife was like, "Hey, it's already fall." I'm like, "Honey, it's not ready. It's not fall yet."
That might be the official
But I think
start
that
right
might be the
there,
official start going forward. But we do have a beautiful sunset along the Oregon coast right now over in Cannon Beach. Temperature of 58 degrees. Wanted to bring this in before the sun sets. Again, we're starting to see that sunset earlier and earlier. By the end of the month, it'll be right around 7:30, or in fact, just before 7:30 by the end of the month. A live look now from our Wells Fargo camera. Mostly cloudy skies where we're looking at a temperature at this hour of 63 degrees. But I tell you what, those rain showers were intense by 5:30 until basically just an hour ago. In that short amount of time, we've seen about a half of an inch of rain fall in downtown Portland outside the Goose Hollow neighborhood in Portland. And you can kind of see still picking up some lightning strikes near Mount Hood at this hour. And again, they're going to continue heading into parts of the Washington Cascades tonight and early tomorrow. But speaking of tomorrow, we could be still seeing some light showers right around the sunrise. By midday, we'll be looking at temperature of 60 degrees. I'm forecasting temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s. Some models are kind of being generous, calling it 70, but I'm going with 70 by tomorrow because I think by the afternoon we will be seeing plenty of sunshine. Case in point, here we are late tomorrow morning. We're looking at some areas of clouds throughout the northern part of the valley, but you travel outside of the city, down in Salem, Corvallis, Albany, you're going to be seeing clear skies a good portion of the day. Clouds and showers continue over into the central and eastern side of the state. It's going to be definitely feeling more like fall the more east you go. And as we go into Monday, we'll have a ridge of high pressure develop for a little bit, followed by some stronger showers moving in by the later part of the day. Some models have been kind of going back and forth on the timing. I think by the afternoon, we're all wet throughout the coast, the valley, and even into the parts of the east side of the state. Currently, we're looking at temperatures in the low 60s, 64 in Sherwood. Along Highway 26 there, temperatures are close to 60 degrees. So daytime highs, we clocked in the low 70s, 74 in Aurora and Portland. Very comfortable conditions out there for all the kids who had soccer games and some football games. But again, still below average for this time of year. We should be right around 78 degrees. The Dows, you saw a high earlier this afternoon of 78 degrees. So as we look at the rainfall the next 5 days, days. We're going to be pretty much dry by tomorrow afternoon. Monday, mainly dry as well. Same with Tuesday. Some models, again, are going back and forth on just when the timing is going to be when we see wet conditions. I think by Tuesday night, we're definitely going to be seeing some wet conditions. And as we look at the air mass tracker, Monday looks to be the best day of the work week with temperatures in the mid, maybe the upper 70s with a lot of sunshine. And then some much cooler air starts to filter in by Tuesday. Again, we'll be looking at temperatures only in the low 60s come Tuesday afternoon. By tomorrow, though, we're going to be looking at very pleasant conditions. Again, I'm going with temperatures in the upper 60s to close to 70 degrees. So tomorrow, morning showers followed by sunny skies by the afternoon. Mostly sunny and really nice for Monday, the last Monday of summer. And then by Tuesday, yeah, you'll definitely see some changes out there by the later part of the day. Those showers, John, carry over into Wednesday, and we mainly dry for Thursday and Friday and into the last weekend of summer.
End of next week looking beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Joe, thank you. Well, we're often told, let nature take its course. But when it comes to at-risk butterflies, a little human intervention appears to be a good thing. A recent study led by researchers at Washington State University found human-managed butterfly habitats may be the key to protecting butterflies at risk of extinction. They say butterfly populations worldwide are declining rapidly due to a combination of climate change, pesticides, and habitat loss. At-risk butterflies, including the Finder's blue and the Oregon silver spot, are particularly vulnerable. Some butterfly populations have even dropped by about 50%. Cheryl Schultz, a conservation biology professor and one of the study's authors, told us something people can do about it.
Local actions that we take here on the ground, whether that's planting wildflowers, planting what we call host plants, which is the plants the butterflies eat, or other things to manage the habitat and to create features of habitat even in our backyard, all of that can make a difference.
She also said butterflies are shifting the timing of their seasonal activities due to warmer temperatures caused by climate change. Populations with the largest shifts are faring the worst, but frequent human management of their habitats appears to reduce those changes. This study can be found in the Journal of Applied Ecology. Well, still to come, a longtime rivalry back at it again. Orlando has a recap of the Ducks and the Beavers, plus the Huskies and Cougs go at it in Seattle. That's next.
Welcome back. The 128th rivalry game between Oregon State and Oregon turned into something a bit different than a lot of people thought it would be. Orlando Sanchez was in Corvallis and has a look back at all the action.
In a rivalry dating back to 1894, This was the first ever Civil War in September, meeting as non-conference opponents for the first time in more than 60 years. That set the stage for the 2024 edition of the storied rivalry between the Oregon Ducks and Oregon State Beavers. It's the 128th meeting of the Civil War. Beaver Nation showing out. A sellout crowd inside Reser Stadium. Official attendance, 38,416. Oregon State riding the wave of conference realignment, keeping the Pac-12 alive. Well, the 9th-ranked Oregon Ducks enter this rivalry as members of the Big Ten Conference, marking the first time since 1963 the Ducks and Beavers are playing as non-conference opponents. It was the visitors who set the tone. Jordan James rumbles into the end zone, and just like that, it's 7-0. Oregon State answers on the ensuing drive, courtesy of Anthony Hankerson. He rushed for 2 touchdowns. But the Beavers' vaunted rushing attack was bottled up, held to a season-low 131 yards, and the Ducks never stopped scoring. Dylan Gabriel put the Ducks on top for good, breaking off a 54-yard touchdown run. He also did it with his arm. Gabriel, 20 of 24 through the air, throwing a couple of TDs. Oregon scored points on every drive, reeling off nearly 550 yards of offense, and didn't allow a single point in the second half. The 9th-ranked Ducks win in Corvallis for the first time since 2018 in a dominant 49-14 victory.
I remember when I was a kid watching, Marcus play the Civil War and his famous hurdle. Like, those are things you don't forget. And then I think all week you hear about the rivalry. So I appreciate it.
I think I missed 3 Civil War games since I was 5 years old. And, having family on both sides of the rivalry, just the feeling and the rights to knowing that you got this game for the entire year is what motivated me for this one.
I feel like we played to our standard today, right? And really still even that, tale of two halves. Offense really effective all day, was able to score on every drive. Really proud of our guys' performance, right? I think it shows what we're capable of doing, right, and owning our standard.
We got to fix what we see today, tomorrow, when we watch the film, and then get better. So I feel good about this group and their character and their ability to bounce back from this.
The Ducks improve to 3-0 and head into the bye week. Then open Big Ten play at UCLA. As for the Beavers, they drop to 2-1 with Purdue coming to town next Saturday here at Reser Stadium. Reporting in Corvallis, Orlando Sanchez, KGW Sports.
All right, there was another rivalry game today. It was played up in Seattle, Washington State, and Washington for the Apple Cup. Game came down to this play, 4th and goal with just over a minute left. The Cougars with the stop, and that sealed the 24-19 victory. The Apple Cup is headed to Pullman for just the 3rd time since 2008. In some local football, the Portland State Vikings football game with South Dakota had to be canceled because of illness. A case of whooping cough hit the Vikings team 2 days ago. No players of the Vikings team are seriously ill at this time. And the Portland Timbers in action on the road against Colorado tonight. Season down to the final few matches. The Timbers looking to solidify a playoff spot. Matches late in the second half. Colorado up 2-1. I'll have highlights of the game tonight at 11.
All right, Pac-12 Revenge Tour. One of the teams took care of business today. Oregon State came up just a little bit short.
Just a little short.
Just a little bit short. All right, Art, thank you. Well, we're going to leave you with a look from one of our sky cams overlooking Portland. You can just see there's a little bit of mist out there today. Saw a big shower earlier, Art.
Man, rained like crazy.
Really came down. Just a preview of what we're going to see for fall. But it is finally feeling like football season after we had a couple hot weekends. For all the latest news, you can always check our website, kgw.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here at 11. We'll see you then.